What's up, everybody? Welcome to part 5 of the web development with Python and Django tutorial series. In this video, we're going to be working a little bit on design. I'm no designer, so we are actually going to be using a CSS framework, because if you've ever had to or ever tried to do CSS purely all on your own, there's so many like little itty bitty things that you got to do to get just a somewhat decent looking website. So what a CSS framework does for you is kind of gives you a head start, so to speak, or it pretty much can do everything for you. So the one that we're going to use is called Materialize CSS. So I'll just go ahead and click on that, and this is basically it. It uses what's referred to as material design, which is kind of meant to, certain things are like lifted above things and it looks more like pieces of paper almost, or something like that. I'm sure some designer is like, that's not what it is at all. But anyway, that's kind of the way I at least recognize material design. If we go to like images maybe. Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like the feeling that certain things are layered on top of things is kind of the general concept. Regardless, like I said, I'm not a designer. Let's get into what we care about. So first of all, to use a CSS framework, you're pretty much just going to do the same thing that you would do if you made your own CSS, which is what we've actually already kind of done to get our snippet. So first of all, let me go ahead and pull up. I'm not even running the website. Oh my gosh, who is this teacher? Run server. And then we'll just come over here. Great. Hopefully it runs. Uh-oh. Hopefully you didn't hit an error. Why did it not? Here we go. Okay, I guess it just started up slow. Anyway, like we did to get the CSS to work here, right? And the JavaScript, actually. We had to do both of those things. And I thought I was going to have to reopen this. That's why I was freaking out for a moment. So if we go to like home, here we can see we loaded this CSS. So we can actually, you can load many CSS. I always want to call them CSS sheets, but CSS literally stands for a cascading style sheet. So yeah, you shouldn't call it CSS sheets, but I'm probably going to do it. I apologize in advance. Anyway, if we want, we can include another one. So let's just come on over and we'll use both of these. So I'm actually going to grab, I think we'll go ahead and just grab both of them for now. And we just put them at the top. I don't actually know if we can get away with putting the JavaScript at the bottom in this case. We probably can't. There's probably some things in that JavaScript that are going to be required to be initial. Feel free to comment below if I'm wrong. You can too, put it in the bottom. That's fine. Anyway, so let's refresh. Boom. We should see immediately, really the only thing that changed is our text. We're clearly using some other font than the default. But other than that, it pretty much looks the same. But the thing is, you can do a whole lot of things with this. So I'm just going to show some quick examples, but also if we come to pythonprogramming.net, you'll see this is also material design. This is Materialize CSS as well. So it's the exact same framework as I'm using here. All this stuff is material design, like these cards giving the impression that they're like on top. That's material design. Even the nav bar acting like it is a layer on top. That's material design. As opposed to like the difference here, like this footer. You wouldn't really call that material because it doesn't look like the footer's on top or something. But anyway, that's all that really means. But anyways, I kind of like the design. I think it looks good. It's getting a little dated. This was new when I made pythonprogramming.net. I actually have no clue what the current in styling is. But anyways, so we've got basically the JavaScript, and then basically all from here are the CSS and the JavaScript. From here, what I would suggest is if you're using a framework like this, click on all the things and then go through all the things, especially like here, color, grid, helpers. Grid is super useful to have. Basically, we'll talk about this here in just a moment, but just understand a grid, it thinks it has 12 columns per row. So you can assign things, and then if you continue going down here, you can see like how would you write the code to get like something that takes up all the columns, and then something that's half and half, and then something that sits all the way over here. and then this is like not half and half, like something has 5, something has 7, and so on. And you could do all the combinations you could possibly think of using this sort of grid layout. So we'll make use of that. I'm trying to think here. Nothing else really. Obviously, tables are pretty useful, so you might want to check that out. But then the next big thing is components. Things like buttons, footer, nav bar. We're kind of interested. We'd probably like to have a nav bar. Pagination is sort of nice. You still got to make the code for pagination, so it can be kind of a pain. And then we'll bop over to JavaScript, see what else we have here. We've got collapsibles, which is how I do like the sidebars. Probably nothing else I want to talk about besides toasts, which we'll hit on later to get pop-up messages. So the first thing I want us to go ahead and do is talk about rows. So let's go into basically right here. How would we handle for these tutorials? So basically for tutorial and tutorials, we're iterating over those, but we might, rather than like stacking them on top of each other, we might want to like put them side to side, kind of like we do here, right? These are so many side to side, but as I size this window, you can see that certain things drop down or, you know, get moved over and all that, like that, and so on. So depending on what kind of device you're viewing on, your viewing experience changes. So that's what we can use these rows for. So first of all, we'll start off with div class equals row, and then we'll close off the div tag. Whoops. There we go. Again, not really going to talk too much about like what are divs and what are all these other things, but it's just kind of like a way the div tag is explaining the type of content that's in between there. I guess I'll go with that for now. So then what we're going to do is specify, so this is rows. So for example, what if actually I'll move some stuff around in a little bit. I think we'll start with that for now. So if we said div class row for tutorial in tutorials, and in fact, you know what I want to do? I kind of want to come over, I want to grab, we'll go to components, cards. Yeah, let's just like grab this card. So I'm actually going to copy this card, come over here. I don't want to write it all out. And then we'll just cut this and this. We'll come down here. Awesome, paste. Come over here, fix the alignment here. Really? Okay, I guess I'll do that. Okay, so really, this would be row, and then in here is probably where you would want to place your for tutorial loop. So in here, we would say for tutorial, boop, and then end for at the end of this here. We'll tab this over. We'll save that. We'll come over here. Obviously, it's just going to be like a sample card, right? So it's just tutorials. But the way this works is this says on a small screen, take up all 12 columns. On a medium screen, take up 6. And then you can also specify on a large, L for large, take up 4, for example. And that way, so you could get like 3 things on a full screen, 2 things on like a tablet, and then just 1 thing if you're viewing it, you know, on a mobile phone vertically. So and probably horizontally too. Anyways, okay, so we are iterating over our tutorial card title. Well, we could just replace this with tutorial title, tutorial, or actually it would be tutorial title. Then here we would probably say, unfortunately we got way too much content, but that's okay. We'll get there a little later. Tutorial.tutorial_content. We actually don't need a card action, so I'm just going to delete that for now. Later we actually might have a card action like, you know, go. So visit or something like that. And then let me just throw in a couple more. And in fact, let me just copy this, paste, and then we're going to say style equals, and we'll set this to like a font size of 70%. And then rather than content, let's call that published. Published. Save that, come over here, refresh. Beautiful. Oh, we forgot our safe tag. And then so you got visit, like a call to action basically. So let me add tutorial content, safe flag, I guess, not really a tag. Boom. Okay, now we got our beautiful snippet. Okay, so we're doing pretty darn well, off to a good start. The next thing I'd like us to go ahead and do is work on possibly adding a nav bar. So let's come over here. I got lost. Here. And we'll go into nav bar. And I think we'll just grab that first one, just for example. There are tons of nav bars for us to choose from. Okay, I'm going to go with this one, though. So I'm just literally copy, come over here, under body, paste. In general, basically anything that gets rendered to the browser, I believe, is thought to be best to be put into body. Again, I'm not like a super designer and stuff, so I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure anything that gets like basically rendered by the browser should nowadays go inside the body. Could be wrong, whatever. Anyway, tutorials, and then maybe we could replace some of these things. So for example, maybe this would be home, kind of like it is. Oops, not home. There. Home. Also make this link to home as well. So we'll call this home. And then let's do /register, and then make this one /login. So we'll call this register login. Save that, come back over here, refresh, boom! We have ourselves a beautiful, you can't totally see it in all its beauty, there we go. We have ourselves a beautiful nav bar. We are off to the races. So of course all these things you could change, like you could add style and stuff like that into this nav bar if you wanted, and change like the background colors, and same thing with like the card, all that. We can change all those colors because obviously these colors are not these colors. So I'm going to talk at the end how we can change that most specifically with Materialize CSS, but I'm going to leave that for the very, very end because maybe not everybody cares. Maybe not everybody wants that. They want to get back into the Django. So I'm going to stop my focus on that for now, and really that's all the CSS that we're going to do for the moment. So the next thing for us to consider is, yes, this is our home page, but eventually we're going to have like other pages. Okay, we're going to have like tutorial pages, we're going to have maybe like an about page, we're going to have maybe a forum, or we're going to maybe have all these things, right? And on all of those pages they're going to be different HTML pages, but yet we need to bring in the CSS, we need to bring in the nav bar. So yeah, okay, you know, every time we could like copy and paste the HTML file and then change the contents within. Not the end of the world, but also pretty challenging when the time comes, and it will, that you decide you want to change the nav bar. Then you got to change it on all your files. Okay, so it gets kind of messy pretty quickly. So that's not the way we want to do it. Instead, what we want to use is two things that come from or come with Django in the like templating that we get, and that is extends and include. So the first thing I think we're going to do is actually extends, and so the way that I'm going to do that is first so we got home.html. That's going to stay the same, but we're actually going to make a copy. I wish I could copy, but I can't that way. So I'm going to go into my site, main, templates, main, home. I'm actually going to copy paste. I'm going to call this now header. So that's header.html. Let's go ahead and open up header.html. And header will be the thing that encases everything. So you might actually see this called like main or something like that. The term header probably actually shouldn't even, I'm not even sure header is the one I should use, but I'm not going to worry about that. This is just going to be the type of file that encompasses everything, and header will actually include the footer, which we don't have yet, but if you did have one, that's probably where it would go. Anyway, this is the thing that's going to encapsulate all the other things, and really all the other things are probably going to sit within body, but even something like nav, no reason why that would be the case, but probably this stuff, right? This is the only thing that's unique, truly unique to the home page. So because of that, in the header, what I want to do is take the stuff that is truly unique to the home page and delete it. I know, it's very sad, but instead what we're going to replace that with now is block content. Oh my goodness. And then we will end block. And again, I'm not sure if you can actually have a space there. We should test it. I should find out the answer. Anyways, now anything that extends this header file is actually just gonna, it's going to know, okay, I populate into there. Now I know some people will be thinking, well, what if you had like two things? Like what if you wanted to have something here and then something here? That's what you would use include for, which we will talk about soon. So what I'd like to do now is finish with home.html. So inside of our home.html, what we need to do is basically this is going to say ooh, I shouldn't have deleted all that. Okay, do this, come over here, this, and then I'm going to move these around here. Very good. Very good. Okay. So then all you need to say is you're basically going to tell Django that this is going to extend some specific template. So in this case, we extend, and then again, this is, so you start in the templates directory, so it's main/header.html. HTML. Great. Block content, save. And we've done a lot of things. So let me see how we did. Hopefully we didn't screw anything up. Okay, great. Everything looks the same, so it sounds like we did it. So now our header file is on its own, and then every unique page that we write, we just say, hey, that extends, here's the actual content, and that content is just gonna sit right here. So it's a nice convenient way to for us to keep things kind of clean and then also not continue repeating ourselves. Okay, so I think I'm gonna say we're all set at that point. We'll worry about the nav bar later where we include it, but the nav bar is going to change not super significantly, but it's going to change as we actually use these buttons and need to change them and stuff anyways. Right now I'm not really too worried about it, so I'll leave that. And the other thing I want to talk about is changing the actual design here. So what I'm going to do is we'll come over to Materialize CSS, and if you want to customize this, go ahead and go to the main site, hit get started, maybe. There we go. I did click it. And what we want is this Sass. So go ahead and click on that source, and then while you're waiting on that, we're going to go ahead and grab Koala Sass probably. You need something that's going to compile the Sass. So I'll grab that. Hopefully it doesn't take us too long to install it. I seem to have recollection that one time this took a while. But I'll at least talk you guys through it, and then I'll also be hosting at least the Sass file, but then also I could probably host the Materialize.css file as well. But I want you guys to understand like how it's done. So in the old days, you would have to go through and find and replace, which is not ideal. So instead, what you can do with Sass is you just modify a couple of variables instead, or in this case, quite a few variables. But it's a lot easier than finding and replacing, and then there's like certain ones that you happen to miss, and you're like, ah, shucks. And that's exactly what you say is shucks. So while that's installing, that does look like it's going to take a while. Please go faster. Okay, so let me extract all here. Okay, cool. So this is from Materialize. So if I go to source, if I go to source, I'll come into here. Basically, once Koala is ready to go, you'll come into Sass. Actually, it probably preloads the actual Sass file that you need, but what you need to do first is come into Sass directory. Let me scroll in here, and then probably components, and then we're looking for color variables. So we will open that with Sublime Text. Great. this is what contains all of the variables. Now, this is quite a few variables, as we can see. But the big thing to take away is that, you know, like the CSS is like, you know, probably 10,000 or 100,000 lines. Okay, so you definitely don't want to mess with that if you don't have to. So what you would do is, like, this is the primary color, so Materialize red, this is the base color, and then these are like I want to say this is dark, lighter, 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 and then this is like dark in one, and this gets darker and darker. I can't remember, but you can go to like a color picker, for example. So like HTML hex color, something like that. I'm sure we can find one. Let's go to this first one right here. Fabulous. So we click on maybe this here. Maybe. I thought I could do that. Why can't... Oh. It's right below. Okay. Anyway. Yeah. So come in here. Let's just copy this color. Paste that in. Boom. Okay. So this is the default Materialize red color. Also, I'm just curious, does it get lighter or darker as we go down these numbers? So that... Ooh. It's got to get darker, right? It's got to get darker. Sure enough. Okay. So instead, like, we could change it to be like for Python programming.net, maybe the default is more like, I don't know, we'll go with this blue. Like these aren't the exact ones, but so you go with that as the base, you come over here, you say, okay, lighten, we'll go with this is like super freaking light. Boop. And then you could kind of keep going down the line here. I don't know which one is the nav bar. One of these things is the actual nav bar, so I kind of need to replace probably all of them, unfortunately. There's got to be like a better way to get like a list of colors. Somebody will comment below and be like, hey man, here's how you do it. All right, darker. And I want to say these get, you know, slowly darker. I'm just trying to show this as an example anyways, so it doesn't really matter if I'm totally incorrect. Like I said, I will host mine. Okay, so paste that in, save. All right, so now the next thing, let's just assume we're going to use Materialize red. Now, you could go and change all of these. Like, so Materialize is going to use various colors for different things. One of the more popular ones that it's going to use is like the yellow and stuff like that. So you may want to come in, modify the yellow, because a lot of buttons are going to default to yellow. Also, they use like a cyan color frequently. I want to say that would be literally cyan, probably. Anyway, it could also be teal. I don't really know. Cyan versus teal. Comment below what the difference is. Maybe like brighter and more green. Anyways, so then what you can do is you can come down here. Like, let's say you don't feel like editing all these freaking colors and you just want everything to be like 2 colors. Well, this is all you would need to do. So take this, like if you didn't want any other red ever, boom, done. You want blue replaced. Obviously, should be, we replace Materialize red with blue. Also, you could change the name of the variable, because obviously this is blue now. But you wouldn't want to change this one, because this is what's going to be referenced in the actual CSS. Hey, look at that. I talked us through the installation. Good to go. Okay, so I kind of want to just like I kind of want to replace them all and just see what it looks like, because hopefully we can. I just want to prove that we changed the color of the bar. Surely that's good enough. Okay, so now, so we come into here. It says you can drag and drop. Historically on Windows, I've had a problem with this. On Mac, it works fine. Let's see what happens. So I come into here. Ba-da-boop. Nope. What if I go back to this one? Doop. Nope. What if I go this one? Doop. No. Okay, so instead I'll click this plus up here. We will go into downloads, Materialize. That should be enough. Done. Okay, in this first file, it kind of, I guess it just automatically detects which file in the entire tree is acceptable. So it's this one. So you click on that, and then you hit compile. We wait for it. Success, it says. CSS, boom, here is our CSS. So now, to use it, we would just go into main. Oh, we don't even have a static yet. Okay, well, Same principle applies. I thought this would be so much quicker. Main static, main again. Sadly, honestly, probably CSS, and then drag that in. Boop, done. Great. Now we just need to call upon it. So we would come into header.html, and honestly, we could probably take that, paste. Okay, so it won't. So it'll be. It should be static, and then it was main, and then we actually already did the CSS directory. Yay, we were smart. Right. And then, where is my CSS? Okay, and then materialize.css, save, drum roll, everybody. Dang it! 404 not found. Why was it? Hold on. Static main CSS. I don't think we would have to reload the web page, but let me just, like, maybe. I don't think that's gonna be the problem. Oh, that was the problem. Okay, so I guess when you first load the I can't get over that actually was it. Anyway, I guess when you first load the page, or when you first run your site, that's when it figures out where all your directories are. So it gets the directory tree and the file tree. But how do the templates work? So you're telling me the templates, I can add that dynamically, but not the static. I'm not sure that makes any sense, but apparently I'm guessing that's something to do with it. Anyway, this video is about 5 hours long. Quick shout out to my most recent sponsors. Daniel Aguiar, I recognize that name. You responsored or remembered. Jackson Warren, Hubert, Sergey, and then Hannes Klama. I recognize that name too. A couple people canceled and re-upped. You just couldn't live without it. Thank you guys very much for your support. And I think we're all set in this tutorial. In the next tutorial, we are going to be running away at a high rate of speed from design, because I'm not a designer. And instead, we're going to go back into pure Django, and we're going to be focusing on user accounts, because we want to be able to actually log in users and later do, and actually we'll probably start with register. That's step one. Register users, then log in users, log out users, all that fun stuff. So anyways, questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, whatever, feel free to leave them below. If you want to support the content, you can do it by clicking that beautiful blue button. Anyways, see you guys next time.